Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoic Bux. Have you ever wondered what happens when you finally give up on someone, and how that small act can change the entire dynamic of your relationship? If so, you're in the right place, because today we're going to dive into the powerful Stoic strategy of stepping back to let them realize what they've lost. This isn't about playing games. Instead, it's about recognizing your own value and allowing it to resonate beyond mere words. As our wise friend once said, "Absence makes the heart grow fond," which implies that sometimes it's in stepping back that our presence becomes truly valued. So, folks, today we're not just talking about taking a step back. We're talking about reclaiming your power with an intensity that leaves an unforgettable impact. This isn't just about making them feel your absence. It's about becoming someone so resilient and confident that they can't help but feel the void you've left behind. Each principle we dive into today is a stepping stone toward becoming someone who commands respect and admiration. They deeply miss you, not because they've vanished, but because their absence has enhanced their power. You should rise and show them your worth better than you think. Before we begin, I have a challenge to set the tone. If you're ready to step into your power and let your silence speak volumes, then mark. Imagine the strength it takes to rise above the noise and let your silence speak volumes. My silence will speak for me, so please leave a comment below that resonates more powerfully than any words. How many of you are ready to embrace this major change and be present, even when away? Ready, Stoic friends? Let's. This isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world and yourself that you're not just stepping back, but stepping up in a way that will make them feel your absence like never before. Thought experiment. All right, friends, let's begin with a thought exercise that will set the stage for the next 10 points. This exercise is crucial, so don't skip it. Imagine yourself the sun in someone else's life, providing them with the energy that keeps them satisfied and the warmth that makes their days brighter. Now imagine what would happen if that sun suddenly disappeared, leaving the world a little bit colder and dimmer. The once taken for granted warmth is now a distant memory, and the absence intensifies daily. Do you think they would just move on, or would they begin to realize the significance of what they've lost? Think of a person in your life who was once an important part of your everyday routine, a friend, partner, or co-worker. Remember how frequently you used to communicate with them and the little things you used to do. The quick phone calls and casual encounters were commonplace. Imagine a scenario where suddenly those interactions cease, not due to a disagreement, but due to your decision to focus on yourself. How do you think they would feel? What thoughts would they have as the days go by and the usual conversations cease? Would they miss you? Would they start to wonder where you've gone? Could my absence push them further away? This is a common concern, but it's important to understand that this strategy isn't about disappearing completely. It's not about vanishing from their life to the point where they move on without a second thought. Instead, it's about creating a subtle yet powerful shift in the dynamics of your relationship by stepping back. You're not removing yourself entirely. You're creating space for them to reflect, to realize and to feel the impact of your absence. This isn't about being absent forever. It's about making your presence felt more strongly by stepping away just enough to allow them to understand what life is like without you in it. Think of it like a beautiful painting. Sometimes stepping back allows you to see the full picture and appreciate its true value. The main focus of our conversation today is this. We're not talking about being pushy. Instead, we're talking about the transformational power of making space. When you stop looking for someone and turn your focus back to yourself, something significant happens. The dynamics shift. As a result, people start to perceive you differently and feel the weight of your absence, possibly more intensely than you could have ever imagined. When was the last time you misplaced something expensive, such as a treasured memento or a favorite piece of jewelry? Before we delve into the 10 points that will elucidate the emotions they evoke when you no longer search for them, pause to consider your personal experiences. Remember the pang of loss and the regret of not appreciating it more when it was in your possession. This is the same feeling that begins to creep into the minds of those who took your presence for granted. The difference is that unlike that lost item, you are empowered to choose when or if you re-enter their lives. Consider the instances where you realize someone's actual worth when they were not present. When you decide to step back, the emotions and thoughts that lingered in your mind will help you understand what happens on the other side. Now, let's explore the 10 powerful emotions and realizations that people encounter when they give up searching for them. Number 1. The dismay of silence. The dismay of silence. Now, people, let's start with the shock of silence. The first thing that might happen to them if you abruptly disappear. Imagine being the dependable, plan-maker, first texter who suddenly backs off. You don't send the morning text, you don't make plans, and all of a sudden there's a noticeable silence. This silence, however, isn't just about the absence of your messages or your presence. It's a deeper kind of shock that occurs when someone realizes the comfort of knowing you're there has abruptly changed. Although they may not have acknowledged it before, your presence served as a constant, akin to background music, that they had grown to rely on, even though they may not fully appreciate it now. This is where the shock really sets in. They start to wonder what happened. Why aren't they reaching out? Did I do something wrong? This sudden shift catches them off guard, and it's this disruption of the norm that starts to make them question things. The silence becomes loud, almost deafening, and in that quiet space they begin to feel the impact of your absence. It's important to remember what Rumi once said: the quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. In this case, the quieter you become, the more they start to hear the echo of your absence in their life. They might have taken your presence for granted, assuming you'd always be there, but now that you've stepped back, they're forced to confront what life is like without you in it. Now you might be thinking, but what if they don't care? What if my presence wasn't that significant to them in the first place? This is a valid concern, and it's a question that many of us fear. But here's the thing: if they really don't care, if your absence doesn't cause even a ripple, then that tells you something important. It tells you that maybe, just maybe, this relationship wasn't as meaningful as you thought, and while that can be tough to face, it's also a form of clarity that's invaluable. Imagine you're at a concert and one of the instruments suddenly stops playing. If the music continues without any noticeable difference, it means that instrument wasn't integral to the performance. But if the absence leaves a noticeable, if the song sounds empty without it, you can understand how crucial that particular instrument was. The same is true for relationships. If your absence has no effect, you may not have been acting in the way you believed you were, which is acceptable because it gives you a better idea of where you really stand. The shock of silence usually has an impact. This moment of silence can serve as a potent awakening for them, marking the initial step towards altering the dynamics of your relationship. This moment forces them to reassess their situation, contemplate their blessings, and acknowledge the possibility that they may have taken you for granted. That realization often leads to a deeper appreciation of the role you played in their lives. They start to realize that your presence was more than just a convenience. It was a source of comfort, stability, and connection. As they process that, their thoughts will express how much they miss you. The realization of your value 2 realizations of your value. Let's move on to the second thing they might go through when you disappear: the realization of your value. Imagine this. Once the initial shock of your silence subsides, they begin to adjust to their new normal. However, as the days go by, a subtle yet persistent sense of missing something significant begins to gnaw at them. In addition to texting and calling, you're not there to offer your energy, support, and special ability to brighten their day. This is where the realization of your value starts to kick in. You see, in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it's easy to take people for granted, especially those who are always there, always giving. But when you suddenly step back, when you're no longer pouring your energy into the relationship, they begin to notice the void you've left behind. It's like removing a key piece from a puzzle. Suddenly the picture doesn't look complete anymore. They start to realize just how much you were contribute. Not just in big obvious ways, but in the little everyday things that made their life richer. As the days pass, they might find themselves missing the way you listened to them, the advice you offered, the laughter you shared. They begin to see that your presence wasn't just a background noise in their life. It was a melody that added depth and meaning to their days. And now that melody is gone, leaving behind a stark, uncomfortable silence, this realization often leads to a deeper reflection on their part. They start to ask themselves questions. Why did I take them for granted? What was it about them that made my life better? And as they reflect, they begin to see your true value. Perhaps for the first time, they start to understand that you weren't just filling space in their life. You were adding something meaningful, something they can't easily replace. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you've ordered your favorite dish. You've had it so many times that you don't even think about how good it is anymore. It's just your go-to meal. But one day you decide to try something new, and it's just not the same. Suddenly you realize just how much you love that favorite dish, how much it satisfied you, how it hit the spot in a way nothing else could. That's what happens when you step back. They realize that nothing else quite compares to what you brought into their life. This realization of your value isn't just a fleeting thought. It's something that can profoundly change how they see you and the relationship. They start to recognize that you were a steady source of positivity, of support, of joy. And now that you're not there, they see the impact of your absence everywhere. It's in the small moments of their day when they would have reached out to you, in the challenges they face without your comforting words, in the laughs they miss sharing with you. As Albert Einstein once said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value in stepping back. You're giving them the space to recognize your true value. As they sit with this realization, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you. It will speak of your worth, your impact, and the irreplaceable role you played in their life. This realization can be powerful enough to compel them to reach out and reconnect, this time with a deeper appreciation for everything you bring to the table. You're also allowing them to see what they had and what they've lost. The void of your presence. 3. The void of your presence. Now let's delve into the third experience they're likely to face when you become absent. The void of your presence. After the shock of silence and the realization of your value comes the unsettling awareness of the void you've left behind. This isn't just about missing your texts or your phone calls. It's about the deep emptiness that your absence creates in their life. Suddenly all those little things you did, the thoughtful gestures, the way you listened, the comfort of knowing you were always there, are glaringly absent. And that absence feels like a huge gap. Imagine this: they go through their daily routine, but now something is off. The usual text they receive from you in the morning doesn't come. The inside jokes you used to share feel hollow when there's no one to laugh with, and the comfort of knowing you're there to talk things through is gone. It's as if the emotional safety net they didn't even realize they had has been pulled away, leaving them to navigate their days without the support they had grown accustomed to. This void is profound because it's not just about the things you did, but about who you are. Your presence brought a certain warmth, a sense of connection that they can't easily replace. And now, in your absence, they feel that emptiness more keenly than they might have expected. It's like walking into a room that used to be filled with light and warmth, only to find it cold and dark. That emptiness is your void, and it's something they can't ignore as they navigate this new reality. They might find themselves trying to fill that void, perhaps by reaching out to others or distracting themselves with other activities. But deep down, they know that nothing quite fits the space you occupied. Your presence was unique, and now that it's gone, there's a noticeable gap in their life. This void isn't just a reminder of what they had, it's a constant nudge that they've lost something important, something that made their life better. As the French philosopher Vol once said, the art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. Your presence added value to those common things, and now without you those things don't bring the same joy. So as they sit with the void of your presence, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you. It will remind them daily of what's missing, of the light and warmth that's no longer there. And in that void, they might just realize that what's missing isn't just anyone, it's you. So folks, that was the third thing they might feel, the void of your presence. Before we move on to the fourth, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What questions are running through your mind right now? Delete them from the comments section. I am available to assist you during this journey. If you understand everything so far, please give this video a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to the channel. Together, we will uncover the next sensation you may experience, one that will undoubtedly have a greater impact, and you won't regret missing it. Please stay tuned as we explain how your absence can affect their life. Number 4. The growth of curiosity. Now that you're no longer a constant in their lives, let's talk about the fourth thing that might happen when you disappear, the rise of curiosity. After the initial shock of silence, the realization of your value, and the uncomfortable void of your presence, something intriguing starts to happen, but their curiosity isn't just about where you've gone or why you're not reaching out. It's a deeper, more compelling need to understand your world. Imagine this scenario. They're scrolling through their phone when they suddenly realize they haven't heard from you in days or even weeks. They start to wonder what they're doing, if they're okay, and if they can move on without me. This inquisitiveness can swiftly develop into a fascination as they start to wonder about all the things they are unaware of. They might even start following you on social media in an attempt to gain a glimpse of how your life is coming together. Hints to satiate that developing interest. This rise of curiosity is powerful because it's a sign that they're beginning to see you in a new light. When you were always available and always there, they didn't need to wonder about you. They knew exactly where you were and what you were doing. But now that you've stepped back, there's a mystery around you, a sense of intrigue that pulls them in, making them want to know more. It's like reading a book and suddenly realizing you don't know what's going to happen next. That uncertainty about the unknown becomes irresistible, as the philosopher Aristotle once said. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. This quote perfectly captures the rise of curiosity. They start to realize how much they took for granted, how much they didn't really know about you, and now with your absence they're eager to fill in those gaps to understand what's happening beneath the surface. Curiosity can be a powerful motivator. It can drive them to reach out, to try and reconnect, to rediscover who you are and what you're up to. And in this process they begin to see you not just as the person they once knew, but as someone who is constantly evolving, growing and becoming more intriguing with each passing day. So as this curiosity rises within them, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you in ways that draw them closer. Even though you've stepped back, it's a subtle but powerful shift, where the mystery of your absence becomes a magnet, pulling them in as they seek to understand the person you're becoming, someone who is more than they ever realized. Number 5. The growth of the emergence of longing. Let's now discuss the 5th thing that they might experience when you disappear. As curiosity takes hold, a deeper longing begins to emerge. This isn't just a passing desire to speak with you or see you again. Rather, it's a persistent feeling that grows over time. Imagine that they're going about their daily lives, but everything that made your relationship special, a song that played in the background, a place you both used to visit, or even a random phrase that brings back memories of something you said, adds up to create a sense of longing that's hard to overcome. It's not just the big moments that they start to miss. It's the little things and everyday interactions. The strongest wanting is the one that arises in the places where connection formerly existed. As days pass without a word, desire grows. As the French writer Marcel Piard once stated, the true journey of discovery aids not in exploring new territories, but in developing fresh perspectives. This longing gives them a new perspective on what you meant to them, and they start to see the relationship in a different light, appreciating all the things they may have overlooked before. As this longing grows within them, your absence will start speaking for you in the form of an undeniable pull that makes them crave the connection they once had with you, realizing just how much they truly miss it. The 6th, the pain of the sting of regret. Let's move on to the 6th emotion they could experience if you disappear. The sting of regret intensifies as curiosity and longing for you grow stronger. This isn't just a fleeting thought or a slight feeling of what if. Rather, it's a painful realization that they might have taken you for granted and failed to fully appreciate you when they had the chance. Imagine this. They are sitting alone, thinking back on the times you spent together, when all of a sudden it hits them. Those times when you reached out, offered support, or made sacrifices that they didn't fully recognize at the time. Maybe they ignored your worries, ignored your efforts, or assumed you would always be there. Now that you've left, they perceive those moments through fresh eyes, and the consequences of their actions or inactions begin to burden them. Regret frequently accompanies a string of if-only ideas. These thoughts can be unpleasant, since they are associated with lost chances. If only they had been more attentive. If only they had appreciated you as much as you deserved. There are opportunities to express your importance to them, which can strengthen your relationship or resolve problems before they become too big to ignore. Realizing that they overlooked something significant leads to this painful feeling of regret. They begin to wonder how things could have turned out differently if they had taken the time to nurture the relationship rather than taking it for granted. It's a sobering realization that frequently leaves them feeling as though they have lost something irreplaceable. Regret, as the philosopher Surin Card once stated, is a powerful tool that is not always beneficial. The irreversible nature of the past gives rise to a deep sense of helplessness and sadness, as regret cannot undo the consequences of past actions. However, regret can also act as a catalyst for change, prompting individuals to re-evaluate their priorities, recognize the importance of the lost, and strive to make amends if feasible. Their absence will begin to speak for them in a voice that says, "You should have valued me when you had the chance." The sting of regret frequently drives people to attempt to make amends or reignite what has been lost. It's a potent insight that may inspire people to carefully consider what they did and maybe try to make things right before it's too late. The 7th. The allure of the myth surrounds mystery. Let's go on to the seventh emotion they could experience if you disappear. The mysterious intrigue while you're away. Something intriguing starts to happen. They begin to view you through a new, mysterious lens. Before, they knew what to expect from you because you were always available. But now that you've stepped back, you've become a bit of an enigma. Imagine this. They realize they no longer know what you're up to. You're not sharing your daily thoughts, plans, or feelings, and suddenly, you're not as predictable as you once were. This unpredictability piques their curiosity even more as they begin to wonder what you're doing, who you're spending time with, and what new things you're exploring without them. This mysterious intrigue is potent because it changes the dynamics. Instead of being the one who constantly reaches out and shares, you've transformed into someone whose life they no longer have access to. It's similar to when a beloved character in a story suddenly becomes more complex and multi-layered. Your absence adds depth to how they perceive you, making them want to know more. Novelist and poet Oscar Wilde once said that the truth is rarely pure and never simple. This idea captures the essence of mystery. You've evolved from the person they thought they knew to someone with layers and a life that continues to evolve even without the minutiae. As this sense of mystery grows, your absence will start speaking for you in subtle but impactful ways, enticing them with the curiosity of learning about the new dimensions of your life. The eighth thing that people may experience while you are gone is the power of reflection. Let's explore this idea. Eventually, after feeling the shock of silence, the sting of regret, and the building curiosity, they reach a moment of introspection. This isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a time when they start to really consider the relationship, themselves, and everything that has happened. Their absence allows them to reflect on everything that has happened, what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what they may have overlooked. Imagine this. They find themselves alone with their thoughts, reliving memories of your time together. Your conversations, support, and times when they didn't give you enough attention or appreciation are considered. This reflection often provides clarity, allowing them to view the relationship not only as it was, but also as it could have been if they had invested more effort and consideration. Reflection is a powerful tool because it enables people to see things from a different angle. They start to see their own flaws, times when they were too focused on themselves to realize how much you helped them. That's when they may realize they missed more than just your presence. They missed the chance to grow closer to you. Reflection can also help people become more aware. They may start to recognize patterns in their behavior, perhaps realizing that they've made similar mistakes in previous relationships. It's a moment of personal growth when they start to realize that your absence is more than just a temporary gap. It's a chance for them to learn and possibly change. As the philosopher Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This introspection forces them to consider their relationships and how their decisions have affected them. As they immerse themselves in this contemplative state, they will begin to speak for you in ways that provoke thought, as this period of introspection can lead to a deeper understanding of both themselves and you. Encourage them to grow and appreciate what they have, because when they reflect, they may realize that your presence made their life richer, and that, if they get to see you again, the lessons they learned from your absence could change their lives. This brings us to number 9. The allure of independence. Let's discuss the 10th emotion they may feel without you, the desire for independence as they fill your place. Something intriguing happens. They begin to see you in a new light. You're no longer the person who was always available, always giving, always there at the drop of a hat. Instead, you've become someone who is independent, self-sufficient and strong on your own. And let me tell you this, newfound self-sufficiency is incredibly magnetic. Imagine this, they see that you're not falling apart without them. In fact, you're thriving, you're pursuing your passions, engaging in activities that make you happy, and generally living your best life. This realization can be a game changer for them. Suddenly you're not just the person they used to know. You're someone who has grown, evolved, and become even more compelling in their absence. There's something inherently attractive about a person who doesn't need validation from others to feel complete. When they see you embracing your self-sufficiency, it challenges their previous perceptions of you. They might have thought that you depended on them for your happiness, but now they see that you're perfectly capable of creating your own joy, regardless of whether they're in the picture or not. This self-sufficiency can stir a mix of emotions in them. On one hand, they might feel a pang of regret for not appreciating your strength earlier. On the other hand, they might find themselves drawn to you, even more fascinated by your ability to stand tall on your own. It's as if you've become a beacon of independence, radiating confidence and self-assuredness. And that's something they can't ignore. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, self-reliance is the height of man. Your self-sufficiency is more than just being self-sufficient. It's about projecting an unquestionably attractive level of maturity and inner strength. When people realize that you're not just surviving but thriving without them, they realize how much they underestimated your fortitude and ability. Your ability to thrive independently becomes a silent reminder that true strength comes from within. And that's something they may now admire in you more than ever before. As they witness your self-efficiency, your absence will start speaking for you in a way that showcases your strength, resilience, and independence. This will help them understand that you are more than just a self-sufficient individual. You possess the ability to excel independently. That kind of self-reliance is not just admirable, it's magnetic. Number 10. It can cause individuals to question their own sense of self. They're likely to find themselves at a crossroads when they feel the need for reconnection after experiencing the shock of stillness, the understanding of your value, the vacuum of your presence, and the attraction of your newfound self-sufficiency. Every one of these feelings, curiosity, longing, regret, and reflection, build to a strong desire to rekindle their relationship with you. Imagine this. They've been thinking back on their time with you, spending days, weeks, or even months contemplating what they had and what they've lost. The more they consider it, the more obvious it is that nothing else seems to be able to fill the void left by your absence. None of the people they've tried to surround themselves with, or the distractions they've tried to engross, seem to compare to the connection they had with you. This realization fuels their intense desire to reach out and rekindle their relationship with you, since it wasn't just about missing the positive times. The connection they shared with you gave them a sense of completeness, joy, and fulfillment that they now long to experience again. But here's the thing. The person you've become since they left fuels your desire for a reunion. They're not just drawn back to the person they knew. They're intrigued by the stronger, more confident version of you that has emerged. Your independence. You are much more attractive because of your fortitude and capacity for independent living. They now see you as someone who isn't just desirable because of the past you shared, but because of the growth and transformation you've undergone since then. As they sit with this desire, they might start to imagine what it would be like to reconnect, to rebuild the relationship on new, stronger foundations. They might picture the conversations you could have now, the shared experiences that would be richer with the wisdom you've both gained. This desire for reconnection becomes a powerful motivator, pushing them to reach out to apologize, or to express what they've learned and how they've changed. As American author F. Scott Fitzgerald once wrote, "There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice." They realize that what they had with you was special, and the possibility of rekindling that connection, of creating something new and even better, becomes an irresistible pull. So as this desire for a reconnection grows, your absence will start speaking for you in the form of a compelling urge to rebuild what was lost. They'll find themselves drawn to you, not just because of who you were, but because of who you've become. And in that desire, they'll see that reconnecting with you might be the only way to fill the void that your absence has left behind. Thanks for tuning in. If you found value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. And hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below with my absence. It will speak for me, and let's keep the conversation going. Your engagement helps us grow and continue bringing you powerful content. See you in the next video.